If I had to start all over again, would I do Zazzle? Would I join the platform? Would I join the website? Guys, I want to say this before I even begin, that you guys already know that I sell a Zazzle course. So I'm not going to come out here being biased and say, absolutely, Zazzle is the best thing in the world. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be upfront and honest. Some people might say I have a dog in the race because I sell a Zazzle course, and that's my goal, is to sell a Zazzle course. I'm not going to say that here. I'm going to be 100% upfront and honest. If I had the chance to go back, knowing what I know now about all print-on-demand platforms, the thing that I would do is I would probably go to the easiest platform first. The reason why is because I just want to get my feet wet. I don't want to dive way too deep into things that's going to really discourage me. Zazzle is one of those platforms that I do recommend an experienced print-on-demand seller to join, not a beginner. The reason why I say this is because there's a lot of moving parts to Zazzle that don't exist on other platforms. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room, the most obvious platform, or the most obvious feature, of Zazzle, that complicates the process, which is the customization feature. Now, this doesn't seem like a lot, but over time and cumulatively, it does create a larger effect. I'll kind of explain what I mean here. With Zazzle, you can have the opportunity to give customers the chance to customize the product that you sell or the design that you sell so that they can essentially create a customized version of that very product. On Redbubble, on TeePublic, that option does not exist. Well, the reason why that option doesn't exist is, I couldn't tell you the reason, but the platform doesn't offer it. Now, with that being said, just take a look at this. Imagine you're a seller on Redbubble and you're a seller on Zazzle. The amount of work that you could do on Redbubble, you can multiply compared to the amount of work that on Zazzle. For every one design that I create on Zazzle, I could be creating 10, 20 designs on Redbubble by then. The reason why I even say that is because if you think about it, with Redbubble, people can find your product quite easily, right? We all know how the system works, tagging, finding products, and if your design's good enough, they're going to purchase it, buy it, etc. Zazzle is a little bit different, right? Customers are looking for something that they can customize that's unique, but there's literally millions of different products of these quote-unquote customizable versions. Imagine, let's just say there's a couple, they're going to get married, and they want to buy some customizable products for their wedding. I've seen people buy napkins before on Zazzle. I'll just go ahead and show you guys. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Wedding napkins. You can place certain customizations. So, something like this, for example, right? If you're going to do something like this, that couple has to find the right product and then has to customize it. When they purchase a product, it's not like Redbubble, you're going in, and let's say you want to buy a sticker. You might find 5, 6 stickers that you like. You might buy all of them. On Zazzle, that's really not the case. You're buying one of a specific product, and you're buying lots of it. And typically, when you're at the top of the ranks with something like this, you're not going to end up being found quite easily if you're on page 90, page 50, page 40, etc. It's just not going to happen. I could go over here and search page 30 on the wedding napkins and all this. Or let's even go to something smaller. Let's go to page 10. Think about this. Who's going to page 10? Who do you think is going to page 10 to find a customizable napkin like this? Who do you think? The answer is nobody. Nobody's going there. Nobody's going to page 10. The bulk majority of customers are buying the few minority of products. That's something that's for sure on Zazzle. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing you want to keep in mind with Zazzle is, other than the customization feature, you have to create different stores for different concepts. And when I say you have to, there is no rules. There's nothing like this. I'm just saying to improve your success at the highest chance and increase the amount of money that you can make. With Zazzle, you have the ability, and Zazzle knows this, that you have the ability to go in and create multiple stores in your one Zazzle account. You go to Redbubble, you cannot do that, because Redbubble is known as a platform where, yes, you can make money if you're, quote-unquote, a general store. But if you're on Zazzle and you're selling things like wedding stuff, and then you're selling comedy stuff, and then you're selling birthday stuff, and you're doing all these things, you're mixing up your money. Essentially, you're playing games with something that you shouldn't be doing. The reason why I even go as far as to say this is you look at any of the successful stores on Zazzle, they are niche dependent. A lot of the times when you have a customer on Zazzle that finds, for example, a napkin that's for a wedding, and they want to buy other products like wedding cards and all these things, they're going to go to they're going to go to the same seller because they like that person's style, they like that person's stuff. And usually, guys, Zazzle is a platform where they have a set customer base. The customers that go for Zazzle for one thing go for Zazzle for a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Because they know of Zazzle as this place where customizable products exist. Now, there's a whole group of people on Zazzle who are sitting at the top because they're making majority of the money. It's much, much harder to pierce that quote-unquote invisible veil of success on Zazzle than it is on Redbubble, for example. All it takes on Redbubble is I can create a certain product, I get a sale here and there, next thing you know, I'm starting to rank at the very top. Doesn't really work that way for Zazzle. Zazzle, it's much, much harder to find a customer. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the promotion. So this goes into what I just said earlier, but when I promote something for Redbubble, I'm promoting that very product. It's low barrier to entry. Somebody could buy a t-shirt, a sticker. It's not that difficult. It doesn't cost that much money to get into that product. And I could easily do it through Instagram, through Twitter, and Twitter's really, really good, but Twitter, TikTok, right? All these things can happen. Now, personally, I'm not the biggest TikTok guy, but some people use TikTok. But with that being said, it's doable. Instagram is doable, TikTok's doable, Twitter's doable, Pinterest even is doable, even though there's a lot of spam on there, Pinterest is doable. But if you take those same things and go over to Zazzle and take those things on Instagram, things like that, it becomes much harder. You need to really learn branding at a much higher level if you want to really sell your Zazzle products. Because once again, we're going into the fact that Zazzle offers customers the ability to customize the product if you, as the seller, elect for it to be customizable. Now, a lot of people might be scratching their heads and saying, what are you talking about? Well, if you're a seller on Zazzle, you can just simply upload an image to a product and sell it that way and not allow customization. But you got to remember, a lot of customers who are going to Zazzle are looking for a customizable benefit. If there's no customizable benefit within the product, or if there is no need to customize something, it has a low chance of being bought because the very customer base on Zazzle is looking to customize products. There's a reason why the top sellers, if you guys look over here on Zazzle, the trending products are things that are highly customizable. Notebooks, card invites, bachelor party, birthday, t-shirts. There's a reason why these things happen is because thank you cards, wedding cards. It's because people go to these places to customize these specific products. And when something's customizable, it typically goes to show that people's preferences lead in a very one-dimensional kind of direction. Not to say that one person is going to hog all the sales, but you do see the top 10%, the minority, getting a lot of sales. On Redbubble is a different phase. It's a different thing. For example, or even TeePublic. With TeePublic, somebody can perform a search and you could see the sales disperse among the community. Even though there's a ranking system, you see that. And to prove that, there are many times where you can go into Redbubble and you could switch between the relevant and the best-selling, and there are different designs that show up. So that just therefore goes to further prove that a lot of the sales get dispersed evenly. Not evenly completely, obviously. There's obviously a bell curve to the whole thing where the few top exotic get most of the sales, but not in the same way that Zazzle does. Zazzle is more of like a diagonal line downward, where there's very, very few people who are hogging majority of the absolute sales. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, with Redbubble, TeePublic, all these other platforms, it's a little bit differently. It's more of a bell curve kind of approach where the majority of units that are being sold are somewhere in the middle for people who are not really ranking as high or as low, but there's a lot of sales in the middle. There are people at the top who are making a tremendous amount of sales, more than the average, but we're talking in a cumulative count. If we're talking about all the sales in a specific niche, you look at certain designs and you could say, okay, there's a lot of different designs that would have never showed up on the first page of search, yet they still get sales. Why does that happen? Is because of the ranking system that Redbubble has, and that's actually a benefit. You know, the fact that somebody who's brand new to the platform can go in, create a product, and get a sale 2 weeks later is just a testament to the platform. With Zazzle, you really, really have to knock it out of the park with your design to do something amazing with the sales. A lot of the times, and you look at Redbubble with this, if we go on Redbubble, I just want to show you guys this. If I search for something like, let's search dog. Let's just search the keyword dog. And this also has to do with the niche a lot of the times. If we search the keyword dog, right? Like something like this I would never buy, but there are other people who would buy, right? Who would buy this. With Zazzle, you look at something like a baptism product. There's a reason why this is at the top, right? If I search for, let's just search for baptism invitations, right? Let's go ahead and search. There's a reason why these certain designs are at the top. It's because they are apparently the best looking ones. If we go to the later pages, we can easily say that the pages at the bottom are not as good looking. Now, people might argue with me on this, but I say the facts are the facts. Where are the sales? If something is more popular and it's on the first page, then we could say that it's generating more sales. And Zazzle is not idiotic. They're not going to put products that people don't like or people are not sure about in front of customers. They're not going to do that. They're going to put the most likely products that are actually going to get a sale in front of the product base, right? Like imagine if you had a store. Are you going to put your least valuable products that nobody likes in front of customers, and then you're going to put the most valuable ones that actually get sales all the way in the back shelves? Or are you going to put the most profitable products first that get the most attention? Of course you're going to put the most profitable first. So that's kind of the point. And what has the highest likelihood to sell is really the main thing here, is the main delta, right? These products, we can say logically, have the highest chance of selling as opposed to the products on page, whatever. You could list any number, any page 6, page 10, whatever. You guys get my point. And that's simply because of just algorithm, they want to show what's likely to make the most money, which basically goes to show, and this is what I'm trying to say for this whole rant, is that on Zazzle, it's harder to move up. It's harder to move up. It's harder to make money. More importantly, it's harder to customize products because it takes more time. You really, really, really have to knock it out of the park every single time if you really want to do well on Zazzle. And it's not going to be easy. Sometimes you could do a really good design, but it will take a few months to even get any attention for it. Just because it takes that best situation, best scenario to really exist on there, right? So what I'm trying to say with all this is if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't start with Zazzle. And I didn't start with Zazzle, which is a good thing, but I wouldn't start with Zazzle if I had to do it all over again. I would start with something simple. I would start with TeePublic. I would start with Redbubble even. Redbubble is more simple than TeePublic because you don't have to really apply or get approved or anything like that. And then I would just work my way up slowly as I'm building more pieces, more designs, more things like that. I would work with more platforms and slowly acquire more platforms into my repertoire. And Zazzle would probably be one of my last platforms to join. Now, once again, I have no dog in this race. I'm not saying this because I have something against Zazzle. I like Zazzle. Zazzle has created lots of income for me. I have a Zazzle course that I sell where I teach people how to tag on Zazzle properly because I truly believe that the way that I tag on Redbubble, for example, is drastically oppositely different than the way I tag on Zazzle. In fact, if I was to compare the two, I would claim polar opposites. The exact principles that I tag with Zazzle are the exact principles that I recommend not to tag on Redbubble, right? So I could easily come up here and say, yeah, Zazzle's amazing, go for it, go now, and I could do all these things, but I would be disingenuous. Because the reality is, if this is your very first time doing print on demand and you're thinking about getting into Zazzle, you're fooling yourself by saying that it's an easier platform. It is not. That's just my point of view. That's the way I think of it. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Bye.